Following the ICJ's preliminary ruling on the 26th of January 2024, why do some world leaders now face genocide accusations? Let me explain further by making 7 points about the ICJ's preliminary ruling and how it may impact on world leaders. Point 1. In short, the ICJ's preliminary ruling on the 26th of January 2024 has put on notice that if, and it's a big if at this stage, the court finds genocide committed against the Palestinian people in Gaza by Israel, when they make a final ruling in several years' time, any accomplice would also have violated the Genocide Convention based on the crime of complicity in genocide, which is what this post is about. As such, any world leader who has a stake in the ICJ's case should now be very worried about any expressions of support for military action it gives and any military aid used in Gaza that they may have provided. And the fact the case has not been thrown out by the ICJ, having made a preliminary ruling that Israel has a plausible genocide case to answer, has sent shockwaves to those who stand with Israel's military operations in Gaza. That is why, for some, the ICJ's ruling has been described as historic and monumental. And for world leaders, they have been served, in effect, notice you too may be complicit in genocide. Point 2. As a reminder, South Africa accused Israel of the principal offence of genocide as the principal offender. And again, it's important to note what genocide is. Genocide means any of the following acts committed with the intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial or religious group as such. A. Killing members of the group. B. Causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. C. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. D. Imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. And E. Forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. Point 3. The Genocide Convention has in law created 5 crimes concerned with genocide, and South Africa's application for emergency provisional measures was on the basis that all 5 of these crimes concerned with genocide were violated by Israel and others. These 5 crimes are A. Genocide, B. Conspiracy to commit genocide, C. Direct and public incitement to commit genocide, D. Attempt to commit genocide, and then the final one, E, complicity in genocide as per Article 3 of the Genocide Convention. Point 4. Both South Africa and Israel are poles apart on these 5 crimes concerning genocide. The South Africa position was in part summarised by the ICJ in this way. As to whether the acts and omissions complained of by the applicant appeared to be capable of falling within the provisions of the Genocide Convention, the court recalls that South Africa considers Israel to be responsible for committing genocide in Gaza and for failing to prevent and punish genocidal acts. South Africa contends that Israel has also violated other obligations under the Genocide Convention, including those concerning conspiracy to commit genocide, direct and public incitement to genocide, attempted genocide, and complicity in genocide. Israel's position was summarised in part by the ICJ in this way. Israel also stated that the accusations of genocide is not just legally and factually incoherent, it is obscene, and that there was no valid basis in fact or law for the outrageous charge of genocide. Please read the full preliminary ruling of the ICJ, link in the comment. Point 5. However, the ICJ preliminary ruling, and I hasten to add, is far from a final finding or determination on the merits of the case disagreed with Israel. The ICJ stated, in the court's view, at least some of the acts and omissions alleged by South Africa to have been committed by Israel in Gaza appear to be capable of falling within the provisions of the Genocide Convention. And what are the sum of the acts and omissions that appear to be capable of violating the Genocide Convention? Well, the ICJ stated this. The acts in question, according to South Africa, include killing Palestinians in Gaza, causing them serious bodily and mental harm, inflicting on them conditions of life calculated to bring about their physical destruction, and the forcible displacement of people in Gaza. South Africa further alleges that Israel has failed to prevent or to punish genocide, conspiracy to commit genocide, direct and public incitement to genocide, attempted genocide, and complicity in genocide, contrary to Articles 3 and 4 of the Genocide Convention. Point 6. As a result, any findings against Israel covers all. This is because by Article 4 of the Genocide Convention, it states, persons committing genocide or any of the other acts enumerated in Article 3, those 5 crimes, shall be punished whether they are constitutionally responsible rulers, public officials, or private individuals. What this means is Article 4 of the Genocide Convention gives no defence to any of the 5 crimes concerned with genocide, whether they be heads of state and political leaders, public figures like members of parliament, or private individuals, including people who work in the arms industry, faith leaders, or on social media platforms. Point 7. The remaining question is, how could any world leader or anyone commit the crime of genocide who is not directly involved in any military action in Gaza? The answer lies with one of the crimes in the Genocide Convention, the crime of being complicit in genocide. Now, complicity is difficult to define as a legal test, but let me suggest it is a 4-part test based on decided genocide cases. Firstly, there must be the punishable principal act or crime of genocide committed. This has yet to be determined by the ICJ whether genocide has been committed against the people of Palestine in Gaza. Secondly, there must be a principal offender who commits a genocide. In this case, it's alleged it is Israel. And again, this has yet to be determined by the ICJ. Thirdly, the accomplice commits either one or more of the following 3 acts of complicity. A. Complicity by procuring means such as weapons, instruments, or any other means used to commit genocide, with the accomplice knowing that such means would be used for such a purpose. B. Complicity by knowingly aiding or abetting a perpetrator of a genocide in the planning or enabling acts thereof. And C. Complicity by instigation, for which a person is liable who, through not directly participating in the crime of genocide, gave instructions to commit genocide through gifts, promises, threats, abuse of authority, or power, machinations, or culpable artifice, or who directly incited to commit genocide. You can see why any head of state, world leader, or politician, or arms trader, or faith leader who expresses support for military actions and or provide practical military assistance should now be very concerned. And fourthly, and this is very important for any world leader or head of state or politician to note, the mental element of complicity does not require genocide's specific intent. This has been further explained. The intent of the accomplice is to knowingly aid or abet one or more persons to commit the crime of genocide. Therefore, an accomplice to genocide need not necessarily possess the dolus specialis of genocide, namely the specific intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial or religious group as such. Thus, an accused is liable as an accomplice to genocide if he knowingly aided or abetted or instigated one or more persons in the commission of genocide while knowing that such a person or persons were committing genocide, even though the accused himself did not have the specific intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial or religious group as such. In other words, applying this to the present case, and it's a very big assumption at this stage, if the ICJ rules there has been a genocide against the Palestinian people in Gaza, the accomplice is guilty of complicity in genocide if they provided acts of complicity to the principal offender and the accomplice knowingly aided or abetted or instigated one or more persons in the commission of genocide while knowing that such a person or persons were committing genocide, even if they did not share the specific genocide intent of the principal offender. Just let that sink in for one moment. With the ICJ's preliminary ruling on the 26th of January 2024, every world leader has been put on notice they could be punished for one or more of the 5 crimes set out in the Genocide Convention, particularly complicity in genocide, and that includes politicians of all colours and standing. Feel free to comment, subscribe to Community Legal Education, follow, like, and share.